So I have a nice big ladle here. I want to get all that goodness in there. And then as far as garnishing, I love to use Thai basil. So I have some Thai basil here. Thai basil can be hard to find depending on the season. So I got some Thai basil here. Thai basil is awesome. You'll see these beautiful purple flowers, purple leaves. Thai basil is really fragrant. The flavor profile is definitely different from regular basil. Much different aromatics in my opinion. So I'm gonna find just some nice pieces of Thai basil. I'm gonna garnish my dish here. The recipe we wrote that we have for Daily Feast has cilantro. I love using cilantro too. I don't have any cilantro today. So I got some beautiful Thai basil on here.
Can you use regular basil?
You can use regular basil. For me, the flavor profile is off a little bit. By all means, you can use regular basil, but I would go for Thai basil or cilantro before anything else. Those are going to be your two go-tos. And then we're going to serve it with our steamed rice. So I have some steamed rice here with some fried onions on top. And that is our red seafood coconut curry. Really easy, really flavorful. You know, the curry itself is fairly healthy for the most part. There's not a lot of unhealthy stuff in there. So that's our dish. It took us, you know, about 30 minutes to make that. You have a whole meal right here, ready, good to go. Does anyone have any questions? We're good. Okay. So if you can hear that timer in the background, that's our mochi cake. I'm gonna go grab that out real quick. So after 40 minutes, this is what we're looking at right now. When I see this, I see my edges are starting to get nice and golden, but my middle is very pale. So I'm gonna probably put this back in for about, I'd start in 10-minute increments, or if you don't have time for that, you can put on the broil setting. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, the broil setting is a dangerous game. It's a very dangerous game. There's a lot of sugar in this cake. If you start to broil it, put it in the broiler, your sugars are going to caramelize very quickly. So you'll go from pale to golden brown to I need to cut the crust off this cake before I can serve it to my friends because it's extremely dark and I don't want them to see this. So I'm going to put this back in for 10 minutes. But what I do have But what I do have for you here is this is one that I made earlier. So you can see the color here. I think I steamed the camera up a little bit. So we have a much dark golden, a much golder. It's definitely hard to see on the camera, but you can see we have a nice even top. You can see there's a little bit of bubbles in here. That's just from the air. They get caramelized. So what I'm gonna do is I have this, which is a finger spatula. You can use a butter knife. You can use whatever works best for you. You're gonna let this cool down. It's gonna be poofed up. It's gonna be really jiggly when you touch it. Your first thought's gonna be, this is undercooked. I need to cook it longer. this is not like normal cakes. It's gonna come out and it's gonna feel very jiggly. It's gonna feel like it's undercooked. You can listen to it. If it sounds like it's still bubbling, you know, give it a couple more minutes in the oven. But the most important thing is your color on the top, and um, that's the most important thing is the color. So I'm gonna take my finger spat. You can use a butter knife. I'm gonna run along all the edges. I'd let it cool for 10 minutes, like we said. Boom, look at that. So our cake is popped out. I'm gonna be very gentle with it. Flip it back over. And now I'm gonna cut it into sections. What you're gonna see is this, the inside of the mochi cake is very, very sticky. So I like to have a wet towel with me when I'm cutting it. So I'll make my cuts. And then I'll wipe my knife if I need to. It's actually cutting beautifully right now. It's not sticking at all. So I'll cut my strips. So you can see what's happening now is it's starting to stick to my knife. So I'm gonna clean my knife off. If you don't clean your knife, what you'll see is you'll get these pieces where it kind of gets all over the top. You wanna keep it looking nice. And then what I'll do is I'll move it like this. And then I can cut some squares. So depending on how big you want them, it is a very sweet treat. So not everyone wants a giant piece of mochi cake. Got my nice cuts here. So what you're gonna see is it's not gonna be light and airy. This is very sticky, very glutinous. It's gonna be very dense, but it's gonna be very soft. Also, you want a nice tender mochi cake. So what I'm gonna do is bring my plate over. Get squares in there, however you want to do them to make it look nice. Stack them on each other. Probably a good portion. So this is the stem ginger we talked about in the beginning. So this is crystallized stem ginger. It's baby ginger root. It's so good. It's really delicious. Pretty much what it is just ginger. They harvest the ginger root and then they put it into raw cane sugar, and it really dries it out. But it also gives it such a great sweetness to go with that ginger flavor. What I did was I chopped it up. So I chopped up my ginger into some smaller pieces like this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just lay it down here as a foundation for my ice cream. So my ice cream can anchor to this. If you want, you can sprinkle it over the top of the mochi cake. Completely up to you. We'll do that since someone was asking about toppings for the cake. With this crystallized ginger, you literally can't put too much of it. It's just awesome stuff. We have our gelato. So I'm using Caribbean coconut gelato just to really set the mood. We got our nice scoop of gelato here. We'll go on top. have some beautiful mint leaves here. We got this awesome mint. So I picked my mint ahead of time. I have a nice little wet cloth to put on top of it. You can put some mint in here. The mint goes great with the ginger. It goes great with the coconut. Just have some nice accents on your mochi cake. And that is our coconut mochi cake right there.
So, thank you, Chef.
Thank you all so much for joining us. It's been awesome to see all your faces. Thank you for those of you I don't know. Thank you for joining us. Hope to see you all some more in the future and do some more cook-alongs together. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap it up?
Yep, just a few comments saying they can practically smell it from where they are in Cincinnati. Curry says her curry turned out great.
Awesome. I'm so glad to hear it.
And lots of thanks and praises for your recipes. So thank you, Chef.
Awesome. Thank you all so much. I love all my friends and family. Thank you so much for joining. And see you soon.
Great job. Great.
Thank you. Let's stop it.
I'm gonna stop the video recording.